In the original Hollow Knight game, the knight had a few moves that were quite important than others, and the one that comes to mind every time is Shade Cloak. Using Shade Cloak could really save you from a lot of nasty situations. It really became one of those abilities that were essential to how the knight overcomes challenges. And I always liked it, and I go as far as saying I miss something like that in Silksong. I know, we have Sharp Dart, but that is an entirely different thing when comparing it to Shade Cloak. Now, having said that, it's time we move on to what I actually want to talk about, that is also essential to Hornet as Shade Cloak is to the Knight, and that is Drifter Cloak.
Fuck, let me try that again.
Drifter's Cloak. Probably one of, if not the most important ability Hornet has in her arsenal, besides Clawline. In simple terms, Drifter's Cloak lets you puff up your cloak and ride wind streams to go up, but its importance is usually highlighted when it comes to platforming challenges and fights across the game. That is where I believe it actually gets to shine. Messing up a pogo or a jump in Hollow Knight usually meant taking damage, but in Silksong, you'd be surprised how much you can get away with because of Drifter's Cloak. Now, when you miss a pogo or fall from dangerous heights towards a hazard, instead of it being you taking unavoidable damage, you actually get a second or two to rectify your mistake by just floating there for a bit, and maybe get to fix your mistake just as quickly. Which might not seem like a big deal, but you actually do notice it when it comes to boss fights or mob fights. You more often than not find yourself floating just out of reach of the enemy's attack, which then gives you a chance to land your own attack when you reach the floor. Same can be said when it comes to platforming. Now, instead of being perfect from the start, you can actually try a move, and if it fails, you fire up the cloak and drift to a safe spot if there's any, instead of just plummeting to your death at every missed action you took. Which I find to be very important to a game like Silksong. Drifter's Cloak is really one of a kind, and I'd give it an 8 out of 10 compared to Hornet's other abilities, only missing out on that 10 out of 10 spot because of Clawline, which, in my opinion, is the best ability in the game. But that is a topic for another day. Anyway, let me know what you guys think, and do you also think Drifter's Cloak is actually important to Hornet's moveset? Also, don't forget to mention the times it got you out of nasty situations.